Shabbat Shalom. When I was growing up, we would spend every summer going to my grandparents' house on Long Beach Island on the Jersey Shore. And along with the many art pieces that were there that were created by my grandmother, over by a closet there was a framed picture of the newspaper from the day the State of Israel came into existence. For my grandparents, they remember that day. They remember the moment that the State of Israel came into existence and how meaningful it was for them to see that. My mother in the next generation would tell me stories about when she went to Israel in the early to mid 1960s on the USY Israel pilgrimage. It was at a time where you couldn't go there directly. You had to stop in Paris. They spent 3 days in Paris on the way before arriving in Israel. And as they stayed in Jerusalem, they would look out from where they were on the top of what is now Agron Street and see the Jordanian border, see the old city of Jerusalem, see snipers pointed in their particular direction, and know that while they were in the new city of Jerusalem, the old city of Jerusalem would not be possible for them to visit themselves. When 1967 rolled around, when the Six-Day War was completed and the old city of Jerusalem once again was a part of the State of Israel, we celebrate that day today, which is Yom Yerushalayim, in commemoration of that moment in time, the reunification of Jerusalem within Jewish hands. Being born in 1980, I could take for granted my whole life the existence of the State of Israel. I didn't experience a time in which there wasn't a State of Israel. I didn't experience a time in my life in which there wasn't the opportunity to go to the old city of Jerusalem. On every trip to Israel that I've ever made, I've had the opportunity to experience the length and breadth of the land without seeing parts that I couldn't go to myself. And as such, I think I have a different appreciation, and perhaps not as strong an appreciation as those who know a time where it wasn't possible. When something is no longer feasible for us to do, or something is never feasible for us to do, we long for it, we want it, we understand it in a way that's different. As I reflect on this idea today, as I reflect on this idea in Yom Yerushalayim, I think about all those things in our own lives that we have come to appreciate in new ways, things that we used to have and no longer have. How much we're going to appreciate being able to hug a loved one or a friend once again. What it's going to be like to be able to gather together meaningfully with one another, to be able to daven together, to be able to share experiences that we just all too often took for granted because they were always available to us and we never really needed to think about them any other way. And so hopefully on this Yom Yerushalayim, as we come to appreciate our ability to visit Jerusalem, so too can we once again appreciate even more all those things that we have all too often taken for granted. Take it as an opportunity to reflect on those things that we look forward to be able to experience once again, and assuring that once we are once again, we never take those things for granted ever again. Shabbat Shalom.